Have you ever been confused with the complexity of the equipment system? Ever not been sure what to craft or when to craft it? Well, in today's video, we are going to be talking about equipment, covering 4 different topics. First, why equipment is important. Next, how to craft and upgrade equipment. Then, how to choose what equipment to prioritize. And finally, some examples of equipment sets to aim for. In Rise of Kingdoms, equipment is crucial because it gives your march extra statistics such as attack, defense, and health to be more effective in the open field. There are 8 different slots for equipment, meaning 8 opportunities to make your marches more powerful. Be sure when open fielding to equip your commander with as much relevant equipment as possible. You can see what stats each piece of equipment provides when you enter the blacksmith. Just simply click on the piece you're interested in, and the stats will appear in the top right of your screen. The blacksmith is a building that you can place in your city and is unlocked at City Hall level 16. The blacksmith has 2 functionalities. First, it can produce materials of your choice, and second, it is where you craft, upgrade, and dismantle your equipment. Before crafting or upgrading equipment, you will need 3 different components: equipment blueprints, materials, and gold. You can craft equipment by going to the blacksmith, selecting the equipment piece you would like to craft, and pressing the Forge or Quick Forge button at the bottom of your screen. And voila! You now have a piece of equipment. And if you're lucky and hit the 11% chance, you might have a special talent. If you did get a special talent, be sure to select the talent that corresponds with the equipment type. Once you select one, you cannot change what you chose, so be careful. Special talents give your equipment a 30% increase in stats when equipped to a commander with a selected talent, so it's super important that you choose the right talent. If you weren't lucky like most of us and didn't instantly get a special talent, don't worry. You can still get the special talent by refining your equipment. Refining equipment allows you to incrementally work towards a special talent. You will need equipment blueprints and gold, and for legendaries, materials to refine. To get the special talent, you will have to get your refinement level to 100, so it may take multiple refinements to get the special talent. Another way to upgrade your equipment is the iconic system. Legendary pieces of equipment can be upgraded to iconic level 1 with iconic crystals. To upgrade the iconic level of your equipment from levels 2 through 5, you will need the same things as crafting or refining, that being equipment blueprints, materials, and gold for each iconic level. Keep in mind the higher the iconic level, the more materials it will take to level up. Finally, you can dismantle equipment. You will not get your blueprint or gold back, but it will give you back your materials unless it is a legendary piece of equipment, which then it will only give back 50% of the materials. Make sure to only craft legendary equipment when you are sure that it is the right piece for you, or else you will lose half of your materials dismantling. Now comes the hard part, decision making. This is just a basics video, so you won't find every nuanced answer here, but here are some of the words of wisdom that I use when it comes to equipment. I like to think of equipment in 3 steps: organize, prioritize, and optimize. The first thing about equipment is that you need to have a plan. How many marches are you going to run? What equipment are you planning to use with those marches? How will you get the blueprints and materials to craft and upgrade that equipment? These are the types of questions that you should be asking yourself before you start crafting and upgrading. Make sure to have an organized plan for your marches and equipment so that you can bring as much firepower to the open field as possible. Like a 5551 commander, equipment has different usable points as well. You don't necessarily have to use a full legendary set to open field with a march, but rather you can upgrade certain pieces that give you a lot of value when upgraded. The general rule of thumb when it comes to stats is health is better than defense, and defense is better than attack. With that in mind, upgrading equipment like Infantry's Epic Quinn Soul to Legendary Hope Cloak would be a good upgrade because it changes the attack stat to defense. What I like to do personally is craft legendary equipment as I get iconic crystals, because sometimes there isn't too big of a difference between the legendary piece of equipment versus an epic special talented piece of equipment. Take Cavalry's Heart of the Saint for example. It has 17% defense when special talented, so it is not a huge priority to upgrade to the Lance of the Hellish Wasteland or Sacred Dominion until you have the iconic crystal to give the legendary pieces of equipment that extra boost. Finding different ways to be economical but efficient will go a long way in finding value with your blueprints and materials. Finally, once you have your marches with a decent set of equipment, you can look into optimizing the equipment by refining or upgrading the iconic levels. There are different opinions when it comes to the order of when to refine or iconic, but here are some tips for both. When refining, make sure to have enough blueprints and materials to get to refinement level 100, because you will not get any benefit from a partially refined piece of equipment. If you still want to take the risk, I would suggest crafting and upgrading the pieces you know for sure will give you a stat boost, and then ending it off with the risky refine so that at least you can field with the strongest marches possible. For the iconic system, level up the special talented equipment, as it will give you more stats. I would also advise to not stop at iconic level 3, as it does not give too big of a bonus in the open field, and to either stop at iconic level 2 or go straight for the damage in iconic level 4. Now let's talk about some examples of equipment sets to aim for. I'll be breaking it down into 3 different stages of equipment sets for each troop type, the 3 stages being the beginner set, the transition set, and finally the best in slot set. For infantry, I would start with the 4-piece windswept set, the Karuak's humility legs, and then the gatekeeper shield for the weapon. This beginner set is a good starting point, giving infantry the much needed movement it needs with the windswept set, as well as super high value pieces such as the gatekeeper shield and Karuak's humility. This set is usable from KVK 1 through 3, which then I would suggest looking into upgrading to the stage of the set. The transition infantry set would consist of upgrades to the windswept pieces as well as some accessories. The epic frost treads and Seth's brutality more than double the amount of stats their windswept predecessors gave, whereas the legendary Hope Cloak almost multiplies the amount of defense by 3 times. For the helmet, you can choose between the KVK Helm of the Conqueror or the set-piece Gold Helm of the Eternal Empire, depending on if you want more base stats with the KVK piece or more much-needed move speed with the set-piece. For accessories, Windscarves is great for more movement speed, and Silent Trial is an all-around good epic accessory as well. The best in-slot set for infantry would be a full legendary set, where if you chose to craft the infantry set helmet, you would upgrade the weapon, legs, and gloves to their infantry set counterparts, giving them movement speed bonus. If you crafted the KVK helmet, you craft the KVK weapon and have a lot more choices when it comes to the gloves and boots. You can choose to stick with the infantry set glove and boots for the 3% extra defense, or go for Shio's Return and Sacred Grips, which are non-set blueprints that are more readily available. Craft Eternal Knight for the legs, and for the accessories, the best on the open field is the Ring of Doom and Horn of Fury. For cavalry, the beginner set is similar to infantry, where you can start with the 3 pieces windswept set and replace the helmet for Expedition Warhelm. The rest of the set is complete with the Vanguard set weapon and legs. You can use this set from KVK 1 through 2 and start transitioning into the new stage during KVK 3. The transition cavalry set would overhaul much of the beginner set, only keeping the Expedition Warhelm. The weapon, legs, and gloves would be replaced with epic cavalry equipment, Heart of a Saint, Gladiator, and Iset's Sufferance. The final 2 pieces would be the cavalry set chest and boots, giving a huge upgrade to cavalry health. The accessories would be whichever combat accessories you have up to this point, Silent Trial, Delane's Amulet, or Ancient Stratagems. The best in-slot set for cavalry would keep the 2 set pieces for the chest and boots, and add the 2 KVK pieces in the helmet and the weapon, as well as the 2 non-set pieces for the legs and gloves being Ash of the Dawn and Navarre's Control. The accessories are the same as infantry, with the Ring of Doom and Horn of Fury being the best in the open field. For archers, the beginner set would be the Advanced Helmet and Gloves, Helm of the Phoenix and Leather Gloves, Elite Weapon, Chest and Legs, Staff of the Lost, Commander's Heavy Armor, and Greaves of the Exile, and finally, Epic Flame Treads Boots. Going into KVK 3, I would look into transitioning to a full epic set. Archers have the best epic gear in the game, which lasts into Season of Conquest as a usable set. The full epic archer set would reuse the flame treads from the beginner set, have the full 4-piece revival set, and finally the epic weapon Golden Age. You would then add any combat accessory you have available, Silent Trial, Delane's Amulet, or Ancient Stratagems. The best in slot archer set would replace the full epic set with a full legendary set, starting with the KVK helmet and weapon. Then 2 pieces of the archer legendary set with the chest and boots. And finally, the new leadership sets, legs, and gloves. This 2-2-2 setup is widely seen as the best archer set in the game, giving a lot of defense stats while also packing a punch. Hopefully you found this video helpful. As you can see, there is an unbelievable amount of decisions and ways to invest in the equipment system. But as long as you organize yourself with a plan, prioritize high-value upgrades, and then optimize your equipment sets, you are set to dominate the open field. If you found this guide helpful, then consider throwing a like onto the video and subscribing to the channel for more Rise of Kingdoms guides and videos that will help you on your journey.